Do you ever have a day where you know everything should be fine? Like, you had a fine day, nothing went wrong, basically got to do everything you wanted to do, and yet at the end, you're still, like, bursting with just this nervous energy, like something terrible's happened, or maybe about to happen. That's been my whole day. My day was fine. It was actually a fantastic day at work. I got a lot of good stuff done. I finally caught up with my workload, which had been kind of just been a problem for like 2 weeks now. Finally caught up with that, had a good time, hang out with some friends, come home, relaxed, had some good food, and yet the whole time I feel like I'm dancing on the edge of something. I feel like there's just too much going on in my life right now, but dang it, I'm going to record anyway. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to TheBlueShifting. Give the salute, I guess. How's it going? I hope you're having a good day. Hope you're having a better day than me, but that's the thing, is I have nothing to actually complain about. Like, my day's been fine. It's actually been great. Why do I feel so stressed? I don't get it. But maybe that's going to be the feel of this whole festival, is this whole like, hey, festival's going fine, everything's going great, right? Couldn't possibly explode or something, which I'm sure it's going to. Now, I don't know how long they're going to take with the festival itself. I feel like the lead up to the festival is where they wanted to spend more of the time, kind of like setting the tone and prepping and all of that. But now the festival's here. I imagine we're going to be jumping into that interview pretty soon. And I imagine that during the interview is where things are going to kick off, because I think it's going to be one of those, like, it's a spectacle type things. One challenge I'm going to set for myself today, I'm going to keep an eye peeled out for D-swords. Because remember, the whole idea was that the D-sword would appear impossibly as part of, like, the scenery. And I couldn't even think about, I can't believe I didn't think about it for so long, but now I want to peek for it, because, like, I'm guessing that we're in another situation where they're trying to elevate emotions and trying to set the stage, maybe push somebody to drawing a D-sword. And if there's anybody who feels like it's being pushed, it's Taku. So I think we're going to see it here, possibly. It still might be too early in the series, because, like, I think by this time in the other game, we'd, like, heard about and or seen other D-swords. So far, they've been completely inconspicuous and absent, but I don't think that's going to be the case for long. I imagine we're going to see them. They're too intrinsic to the series. I'd be shocked if they didn't have a D-sword somewhere. So, yeah. Guess that's my theory crafting for now. Let's jump right in and get started, shall we? So it's 9:30. Everyone, are you ready? It's time!
第3回私立壁標学園文化祭を開催いたします。
I like it. What kind of a hooray is that?
Oh! Oh!
I feel like the energy's there, but the execution is weird. Okay, that's a little bit better. That's a little awkward. All the students in the gym roared as soon as Kawahara-kun finished. Cheerful music began to fill the room, and students in costumes, who probably belonged to some club or another, began to dance. Half the students watched them and laughed as they left the gym. They were probably the students in charge of the classroom displays and stalls in the courtyard. Ah, Kazuki. Hi. Kazuki looked over at me to see if I was okay.
まあ、大丈夫。
Even if it was a lie, it was all I could bring myself to say. I couldn't smile. Because of her talents, Kazuki was asked to handle the audio system along with me for the student council's opening ceremony. The rest of the student council, except for Kawahara-kun, as well as Serika and Ito, should have left during the ceremony to patrol the school. It was only going to get busier when the school opened to the public at 10 a.m., about 30 minutes from now. When that happened, people from outside the school would be allowed in, and many different events would be held. Yeah, the social anxiety is hitting. Man, and you're supposed to do an interview? Oh, it's going to be rough. I had to do my job too. But I couldn't bring myself to get out of the chair. Huh? Are you giving me some squid again? Aw, Kazuki offered me a lollipop.
あ、いや、
Hey, dude, come on. That last one, I agree, don't take. It was in her mouth. That would have been really weird. This one's a brand new one. Just take the darn thing. I guess it's not a lollipop though, it's a sucker. Lollipops are the flat ones. She thought for a moment and took out a piece of dried squid from the who knows where. Why is it in your mouth now?
いや、そうじゃなくて。わかった。もらうよ。
I grabbed the lollipop and stood up. Kazuki stayed to handle the audio. She might have a problem communicating, but there were other members of the student council around. She'd probably be fine.
ありがとな。
Aww, she's actually quite sweet, isn't she?
自主映画特別棟2階視聴覚室でやってます。100円です。パンフレットタダで配布してます。
Tickets are $1, basically. Also, by the way, isn't it crazy that they have their own dedicated like art for the festival here? That's actually pretty impressive for art, for like an art direction, because this is likely only going to be here for like this chapter and this segment of the chapter. But look, she's got the Ghetto Froggy like kind of sweater hoodie thing. I kind of want that. If they ever made that for real, I'd probably try and buy it. And then Ghetto Froggy Cafe. Weird.
9時半から屋上のテニスコートでコメディテニスします。
What?
熱くなれよ。
What's comedy tennis? I feel like I'd be good at that. I think every tennis I try to play is comedy. I ignored the advertisements and head to my destination. After the call, Ito had picked up the smartphone and called the number back. Oh, right! How could I forget that the whole thing ended with somebody using his phone to call them? But nobody had picked up. There were only messages that played when you shut off your service. The customer has requested that this number be temporarily disabled. We talked for a while, but none of us had any good ideas. By 3 a.m., we'd settled on participating in the cultural festival like normal, and then laid down on our desks to get some sleep. But I couldn't sleep. I was too nervous. In the end, I didn't get a wink of sleep, and I was only half awake for the opening ceremony and final check of the class's video. That's not good, man. You're supposed to be doing an interview. You're socially anxious, you're overwhelmed, and you didn't sleep. This interview's gonna go poorly. And that's assuming someone doesn't implode during the whole thing. Bye. In the morning, I'd pass by Arimaru-san in the hallway. She had a smile on her face that she wore when she was with her friends. That only made me more nervous, and I was still nervous right now. Now it's full of peep. I didn't yawn even once. I want to yawn. I slept well last night. I could see Seneca patrolling the stalls near the gate through the open doors of the school. Come to think of it, she said she hadn't slept well either. If someone worth their appetite was ignoring all the tasty treats for sale at the food stalls, she must have been telling the truth. Seneca had made contact with them at the hospital too. Yeah, wait. Oh. How were they able to call when I'd shut off my phone? Again, that almost feels like the fact that that's that way, and we are in like, you know, chaos verse, whatever you call it, chaoschild, chaos head. Maybe the call itself was a delusion. No, I should stop thinking about it. I'd asked myself these questions already. Why had they called Ito? How were they able to? Was there a reason they called right at the start of the day of the New Gen incident? Should I go to the police? But would they believe me? And I hadn't come up with an answer to any of those questions. It's getting really loud. I can hear loud murmurs in the distance. Wait, looking for D-swords.
Oi, 裏門の方、渡部来てるらしいぜ。マジかよ。行ってみようぜ。
Huh?
He's early. The meeting's supposed to be at 1 p.m. Oh, wait, he said he was going to do an article on the cultural festival itself, right?
タク、行かないの？
Oh.
Hey, Seneca. At some point, Seneca had walked up behind me. Was she on patrol?
どうせ後で会うんだし、別にいいよ。
I mean, he's right. Why are you getting all grumpy? And suddenly she got very close to me.
元気が足りないな。もしかしてまだ昨日のあれ気にしてる？
Yes.
そりゃそうだろ。
Also, that wasn't yesterday. That was technically today. It was after midnight. I'd be crazy not to be thinking about it.
というか、お前だってさっきまで暗い顔してたじゃないか。
When I'd seen her just a second ago, she looked really glum, but for some reason she looked better now. She looked surprised that I'd seen her, and then...
それはそうだけど、でもさ、だったら何かが起きる前に私たちが解決すればいいじゃんって。
What? Solve the case in the next 3 hours when we're busy? Sure. It's not gonna happen.
5人で仲良く真実を追求し解決するのが新聞部のモットーでしょ？
It's the motto, yeah, but we're also like basically disbanded. I've never heard that motto before.
タクならできるって。
Oh, that's very sweet of you. After giving me a completely baseless motivational speech, she went back to her patrol.
タクならできるってか。
タクル、もう事件なんか追わないって約束して。帰ってきなさい。手伝ってほしいことたくさんあるの。
I still say you could do both, technically. For now, I need to get through this interview. First, there was the video to talk about, and then... the sumo sticker with the different face. It would be great if I could ask Watabe about what that meant, too. I took a deep breath and started to go over the interview in my head.
来ないね。渡部さん、どうしちゃったのかな？
Oh gosh, he didn't even show up for the interview. Oh no, maybe something happened to him before he even gets here. Oh, wasn't there someone who like said don't talk to him? Who was that though? I thought everyone was saying he should talk to him. It was already 1:15 p.m. The interview was supposed to start at 1 p.m. Everyone had heard from Watabe, the famous journalist who was going to be here. The audience seats in the gym were packed. There was even people standing. Everyone in the newspaper club except Kurusu had arrived. We were waiting below the stage. All preparations were complete. But there was no sign of Watabe himself.
控え室にはいたんだろ？
ああ、1時間くらい前かな。挨拶してきた。
Okay, that's really weird.
何やってんだ？緊張してトイレか？
Yeah, no, I don't think he's nervous. He either found the scoop of the lifetime he wasn't gonna miss, or he's become victim number 4? 3? 4.
それは僕だ。
Also, by the way, I totally been mixing up like the number of like which ones go where of like the new gen killings. I'm gonna try and go through it in my head. So there was the group dive, and then I thought it was gonna be vampire next, but I don't think it was. Now, I think. God, I'm always so unsure about this because I don't think like the crucifixion was the second one. I thought that was the third one. Maybe it was. I should know this, and I should have reviewed it. I don't know why I didn't check before I started recording. I think it was just mostly because I was just like, I don't want to record, so I just started. But I should have reviewed it now that I think about it. All I know is that it's like the one that we're on right now should be the vampire. Like that was the fourth one, which kind of makes sense now that I think now because like if I recall, like that first Taku was following the stories for the new gens by then. I think the crucifixion was the third one. And so the second one, God, I can't remember what the second one was. Oh, was that the man-child one? Maybe that was the second one. Ugh. That one was one of the creepiest, especially when we learned how it happened, like how it all went down. That's horrible. Anyway.
Huh?
ここだけの話、さっきからトイレばっかり行ってる。 僕には無理だ。こんな大勢の前で対談なんて。
Oh, dude. I mean, I figured, but man, what a time to be having a crisis.
今さらなんだよお前。
Sure, but I couldn't help but be nervous. I wasn't any good at dealing with crowds or people I didn't know. But now I was gonna have to deal with both. Why did you agree to do the interview? Why couldn't you have Ito do it? Or Seneca? Oh, you know what, now that I'm saying it out loud, I kind of see why he didn't. Take the hint.
よし、伊藤、部長の座を譲る。お前が仕切って。
Promoted!
アホか。
Don't be stupid. Ito laughed away an offer I had made in all seriousness. He stood up from his chair.
それにしても遅えな。みんな待ちくたびれてるじゃん。生徒会は何してんだ？
Watabe is supposed to be getting the VIP treatment, and it was the student council's job to take care of him. But with Kurusu gone, they were probably having a hard time keeping up with all their work. From what I'd heard, without Kurusu there to keep the peace, fights and arguments were breaking out everywhere. The only one that only went to show how much everyone relied on her.
仕方ねえな。ちょっと呼んできてやるか。
Oh, thank you.
しんちゃん待って、私も行くよ。
あ、おい。
Okay, wait. Emotional blanket person. You know, my comfort, my bro. Well, why are you abandoning us? Don't leave me and Kazuki here alone. Neither of us are capable of talking to anyone. What if one of it comes in while they're gone? What will we do then? Hi, Kazuki. Do you see the conundrum we're in right now? But Seneca and Ito were off to the waiting room without us. This was a problem.
あれれ、まだ始まってないんすね。
Hi. Just what we need. A dose of, calm and contemplation and relief and comfort.
Huh?
Oh my gosh. Hi. Again, okay. I honestly have to say that she has one of the cuter character designs, but for some reason that makes it even creepier. I don't know if it's she that's actually creepy, but the atmosphere that comes with her every time that she arrives, it's just always like, oh gosh, I'm gonna die. And it's like, I don't know why I have such a visceral reaction. I'm pretty sure she's fine, like a good, well, quote good, how good can people be in this kind of story, but good person. But why do I get the heebie-jeebies? Oh, it says Arimura-san. Come to think of it, she'd asked me to ask Watabe about the picture.
ずいぶん遅いですね。
Yeah, tell me about it.
はい。今、迎えに行ってるけど。
ほーん。
そうだ、有村さん、聞こうと思ってたんですけど。
なんすか？
画像のことについて、渡部さんを追求してほしいんですよね。その画像って、ラブホテルの力士シールのことでしょ。それには僕たちも興味を持ってるんですけど、有村さんはどこまで知ってるんですか？あれのこと。
I mean, fair. He's part of a newspaper club. This is a reasonable thing to be doing, is getting a little bit of information. I'm impressed that in his moment of fear, he actually is being a reasonable reporter. Not that she's going to answer you, but... Arimura-san looked serious for just a moment, but then she grinned.
情報量は高くつくぜ、あんちゃんよ。
Okay, cool.
お金取るんですか？
当たり前よ。キャッシュで5000万スイス銀行に振り込んでくんな。くっくっく。
Tell you what, I'll transfer it in Dogecoin. You'll totally have something worth 50 million in cash. Totally.
小学生みたいなこと言ってないで、本気で教えてください。
むか。
渡部さんにはうまく質問しますから。だから僕らにも情報を。
ねえ先輩。
Uh-huh.
はい。
何度も言ってますけど、 私に敬語はいりませんよ。改めてくれるまでずっと言い続けますからね。
Well, looks like you're here for life, because that's never gonna change.
はい。
She changed the subject. Arimura-san was incredibly interested in Watabe's picture of a sumo sticker. Did she think that if I questioned him about it, she might gain some valuable information? I considered this as I watched her twin tails bounce in the air. And then suddenly, the curtain on the stage began to rise. Oh no. I think I know. We're about to see something horrific. Because the stage is perfectly set. It's a room full of children, excited to hear him talk. He's late. The curtain suddenly starts to rise. And there he's going to be in all his glory. Alright. Most likely, I'm going to guess hanging. But it's going to be way more horrific than that, right? So, what's a new... Because a lot of these takes have been fairly different and unique, but what's a twist that we could see? He's going to be suspended in the air for sure. Maybe... Okay. The most horrifying thing I can think of is essentially a drawn and quartered, where he's like suspended on different ropes in different pieces. And that's horrifying that I'm even thinking about that, but I'm sure the game will surprise me with something just as horrific. I could start to see the bottom of the lectern and the chairs.
ねえ、始まっちゃいますよ。伊藤先輩たちは？
I have no idea. There was no message from the student council. We had no idea what to do as we watched the curtain rise.
やっとかよおい。
遅えよ渡部。
As the curtain rose, the gym was filled with the cheers and boos of the students.
人、おのえ、何してんだよ。早く戻ってこいって。
あれ？
Uh-oh. Suddenly, Arimura-san spoke up.
どうしたの？
見てください。なんか変です。
Oh boy, here we go. Alright, buckle up. Let's brace ourselves. YouTube, please forgive me for this heinous crime we're about to commit in your eyes, despite the fact that you let way worse stuff on your channel be monetized. It still slams my channel every time. She pointed to the stage. I looked up toward it.
Huh?
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, it's even worse. Oh no. He's just gonna pop. Oh no. Watabe had come up the stairs backstage and was walking toward the podium. Oh, this isn't gonna be good. But he was staggering and struggling to stay up. He looked like he was in pain. There was a thick sweat on his forehead and something that looked like drool was dripping down from his lips. Evacuate the building! But what was even stranger was his stomach. How to describe it? The spot between his ribs and his hips, right where his stomach and intestines would be, was all swollen up. You heard the word beer belly a lot, but this was worse than that. As if someone had stuck a giant rubber ball under his shirt. And students saw this and started to whisper. Their voices grew louder and louder. Sadly, it's true that like if people saw this, people would be weirded out, concerned, but they probably wouldn't actually panic. His moans grew louder as he reached the center of the stage. Just listening to them was enough to make you go crazy.
なんですか？あれ？なんなんですか？
Yeah, buckle up. This is gonna be gross.
わからない。
Yo, Kazuki, that's the most vocal you've been. The whole gym, including the three of us, started to get louder. Yeah, everyone can sense what's about to come. We know it's here. Countdown begins. The students' screams echoed in my ears. Some people were trampled in the mad dash for the exits. Oh gosh. But as everyone else was panicking, Arimura-san and I stood there in silent shock.
あれは。
そんな。
Yep. Something was pouring out of Watabe's mouth, mixed with his blood and stomach fluids. It had a face. What? No! What the fetch? Of course, it wasn't Watabe's face. It was something we'd seen many times before. Holy crap! What was it? I knew it well, but it took me a few seconds to understand. And then, okay, it's not a thumbnail, but. How? What the fetch is happening? Oh my gosh, it's like they manifested inside him.
力士シール。
Yeah, she really is having a response to it. Arimura-san began to scream, her voice joining the cacophony created by the other screaming students. October 10th, 2015, Saturday. This is gonna depart here. 12:28 p.m. So this is right before, an hour before, basically. An unused classroom at Hekiko Academy.
何もないところですいませんが、ここでお待ちいただけますか。
I still don't trust you, teacher, man.
いえ、早く来てしまったのはこちらですから。
Watabe bowed, and the man who led him here from the teacher's office bowed back. Then the man left the room. He'd forgotten the man's name as soon as he'd heard it. All he remembered was that he was a typical high school teacher, with somewhat delicate features. That was all Watabe thought he needed to know. No, I don't trust that teacher.
しかし、なんでもねえところだな。
He had heard that Hekiko was famous, but once he'd gotten inside, he found that it was just a normal high school, maybe a little cleaner than most. He'd seen a TV crew for some station interviewing a student on the way here, but he couldn't imagine there was anything worth asking one. Unless the TV crew is the pseudo, like, Noah device. You know, the little, like, transportable ones?
まあ、多少は見どころのある奴らもいるみたいだが。
I like how he's seeing some people as worth something. Like, it's like, he looks at people as objects to make money. Since his ostensible reason for being here was to do an article on cultural festival, he had to take a few pictures. It didn't matter what pictures he took, so he decided to walk through the school. As he passed by a class that was doing some kind of Garo Frage cafe, there was a bit of a fuss. Student after student had asked him for handshakes and autographs. Almost the entire class had known his name. Oh, that's really, really interesting. Because that's implying that, like, whilst he's, like, a commonly known person on the internet, that specifically Taku's class were all very well informed about who he was. Almost as if they were being utilized and given an impression in order to help make Taku more compliant because it made him feel special and made them feel more connected to him. That stinks of manipulation. He'd even taken a selfie with a girl who said she was a huge fan of his. When he told her to keep it a secret, she'd given him an innocent smile. That was the way it should be. That was the way normal people were supposed to act.
もっと上に行ってやる。
It was only a short while ago that his online friend had suggested he come here. Online friend. Who's been feeding him info. When he'd been putting together what he'd found about the sumo stickers, those fetching brats that the newspaper club here had published before he did, he'd given up on publishing his own article, but at least decided to show it to someone. When he'd let his friends see it, they suggested he publish it anyway. True, he was confident in the article itself. He'd gotten a very good picture of the sumo sticker at the Love Hotel, which the newspaper club had only been able to get from a distance. There was a chance he'd be called out for plagiarism, but his friend had continued. You're capable of turning that to your advantage, right? His friend knew him well, and his friend seems like the same friends that other people just magically have. That walk into their room and then they're like, "Oh yeah, of course I know you." Like the first victim, right?
所詮は高校生の一部活だ。
Everything would depend on how he handled the interview, but Watabe was confident he could use this to bolster his fame. The ideal result would be to show the newspaper club were the ones who had copied him. They uploaded their newspaper to Nikkyonan at the same time, so they were sure to know who he was. If he offered them a chance to help with his articles, they'd jump on it no matter what demands he made. He started off at the very bottom, and he'd work his way up this far. He was capable of getting any scoop he wanted. His power was a blessing from heaven for a man who wanted to be a first-rate journalist. In the whole human history of journalism, there'd never been a case where a net reporter had identified a suspect ahead of the cops, the news, or the magazines. When the writer at a weekly magazine had found a suspect before the police, all of Japan was in an uproar. Watabe wanted to surpass that.
あとは警察へのコネがあれば完璧だな。
His one worry was the Love Hotel incident. When he charged into the crime scene and gotten into a fight with the cops there, his camera had gotten out of focus and he'd failed to see part of the sumo sticker. Oh, that's the problem. It looks different because he doctored it. He'd used that to get his scoop, but for someone on the police force was paying attention to those stickers, and if they were enough of a weirdo to be paying careful attention to Watabe's article, they might find something strange.
まあ、大して違ってはいないだろうからな。
Interesting. So what's the strangeness that you did? People didn't really want to hear the truth. They wanted lies that sounded true, embellished so that they were all the more pleasing. Fetch me, isn't that just modern day news and politics? I'm sick and tired of the idea that people will say, oh, it's the knock. God, fetch. Before I lose my train of thought, I'm sick and tired, personally, of people's opinions, whether they be major political figures or just normal people, who consistently and provably are only approving of ideas when it's like supporting of them and their thoughts, but disapprove of those same actions or behaviors when it's the opponents or the people they don't like doing it. Like the fact that we are becoming like cultures that are accepting of like the rules are for thee, not for me attitudes, where I'm allowed to break the rules because I'm right, and you're not allowed to break the rules because you're wrong, is so dangerous. And the fact it's becoming commonplace now is really, really, like, it's depressing. It's genuinely depressing. But it's okay. Here we are. We got creepy knocking and bewitching occurring. When he heard that sound, he quickly flipped himself back into hard-working, good-natured reporter mode.
はい、どうぞ。どうぞ。
Dum, 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 dum. They didn't open the door, nor did they say anything. Watabe grunted, soft enough they couldn't hear, and then put a smile on as he went to answer the door. And that was it. That's all they needed. Activate the device, whatever it was.
何ですかあれ何なんですか
Yeah.
わからない。
Pandemonium. The students all started to panic at once, and the gym was filled with screams. Then Watabe's body fell to the floor as if in slow motion. His legs were splayed. His eyes were wide, full of terror of death. He was weeping tears of blood. And...
あれは
そんな
boom.
力士シール
Yes, it was a huge pile of sumo stickers. Watabe was probably already dead, but there were still crumpled sumo stickers pouring out of his mouth. Dang, like this is really bizarre. A lot of the weird ones from the first few cases were almost kind of possible to explain, right? Like they got more and more ridiculous as time went on, but this is starting off wild. This is like material being spawned inside a person's body. My heart was racing. Beads of cold sweat had formed on my back. I felt a scream welling up in my throat, but something held it back.
警察電話
Watabe's eyes were emotionless, pointing toward nothing in particular. I wanted to look away from this madness, but I couldn't.
警察って何番？そうだ、117。
Is it 117 for like Japan? I thought it was like 119. No, wait, the police are, well, what was it? 119? Maybe it was 119?
おい
Oh, who's this? Whenever we heard the voice, we were finally able to tear our eyes away from Watabe's body. There was a female student making her way toward us, past the crowds, fleeing towards the exit. A female student? No, she was too grown up for that. And she was wearing a white lab coat. Between that and the sharp look in her eyes, part of me thought she might be a coroner. No, she's not a coroner. She's just best girl.
一体何があった
She slowly looked around the gym, her gaze stopping at Watabe's body.
あれは
And then, without moving an eyebrow, she said,
やったのはお前たちか
How? What? Chapter 4, Her Words, Delusion Origin of the Tale's Other Side.
なるほどな。じゃあ、被害者渡部さんは、時間になっても体育館に現れなかったと。
Yes, sir.
はい。
そこで、宮代くんと和樹さん、それから有村さんが待っていたところ、彼がいきなり舞台に上がってきて、そこで事件は起きた。間違いないね。
はい。
After that, we were all in a total daze and everything happened very fast. The black-haired woman who had suddenly appeared called Detective Shinjo-san, who contacted the police station. Since our club was supposed to have an interview with him, we were questioned in our club room. During the questioning, we could hear students yelling outside, the sound of dozens of patrol car sirens, but all quickly faded back into silence. The police had probably sealed off the whole school. There had been no announcement about what was going to happen with the cultural festival. Bro, it's done. You got all the fun out of it you could have. But after what happened, there was no way it wouldn't be shut down.
で、伊藤くんと尾上さんは、事件の前に渡部さんの控室へ行ったんだよね。渡部さんとは会わなかったのかい？
Yeah, I'm almost a little like... I don't want to say suspicious, but can I be suspicious of our friends just like leaving just before this all kicked off? Maybe I'm being paranoid, but I don't know. I feel like we can't trust anybody, and it's gonna try and do another rug pull somewhere. I could feel it. Also, by the way, I wonder if the detective's gonna notice our little corkboard here. Huh? Am I a suspect? That's what Ito must have thought because he suddenly started acting strange.
でも、控室には誰もいなかったんす。な、尾上。
部屋は空っぽでした。
生徒会の役員は？渡部さんの世話をしてたはずだろ？
Wait a minute. Why am I being too suspicious of them? Like, I mean, it could have been them, but here's the thing to consider too. We know for a fact that the time when whoever did the original delusion that led to his death, they approached him at nearly 12:30, which would have been about 45 minutes before the event that we saw kicked off, right? And Onoe and Ito were with us up until the 5 minutes before. So, I mean, I can't say they have a perfect alibi, but they certainly didn't leave us and then initiate that. I'm jumping to too many not conclusions, suspicions.
それもいなかったです。
Sedeka must have been surprised by the sudden question because she started fiddling with her Garo Froggy cell phone strap.
おい、お前。不愉快な音を立てるな。うるさい。
Hey. Oh, she's so cool. She's being mean to Seneca, which I don't like, but she's so cool. She must have only then just realized what she was doing because she quickly took her hand away from the strap.
尾上、落ち着け。誰もお前を疑ったりしないって。
ありがとう、タク。
有村さん、二人の言ってることは本当かな？
ええ、嘘じゃないですね。本当に誰もいなかったみたいですよ。
You know what? I've just finally realized, like, it just took me a second, but I just finally realized we're all in the room together right now. Aw, Seneca's crying. Aw. But, like, it's literally all of us. So, now what? Are we going to be able to form a new investigation task force, or are we going to still be kind of pseudo-enemies after this? From the look on her face, you'd think that she knew the whole story. And for some reason, Shinjo-san seemed to believe her.
そうか。了解だ。
Yeah, he's like, wait, what? He'd believe every word Arimura-san had said during the entire questioning. It was kind of strange. Did the two of them trust each other that much?
一応聞いておくが、有村さん。君は体育館に行く前は何をしていたんだ？
何言ってるんですか？直前まであなたたちと一緒にいたはずですけど。
Oh, she was already meeting up with them.
もしかして忘れてます？もしそうなら脳の精密検査を受けることをおすすめしますけど。
And I'd also argue you probably should change careers.
いや、もちろん分かっているさ。ただ、念のためというやつで。
Okay. Shinjo-san scratched his head as if he didn't know how to respond. I take that back. There clearly wasn't any trust between the two of them. In fact, he didn't seem to know how to handle her. Then why would he trust what she said? Something felt strange. He's missing the connection that he basically is like, he's got some more insider information, especially from like the organization that Momo-san is a part of. But it's also this idea that like, she has a great alibi for having been with him. Like, it's tough to break an alibi where you were literally talking with an investigator around the time a crime was being committed. And there was one more thing. Arimura-san had said that she was with Shinjo-san until right before she came to the gym. But there had been barely any time between Watabe's appearance on the stage and Shinjo-san's arrival. So what has Shinjo-san been doing at the cultural festival?
まさか、最初から何かが起こると予想してた。
Yeah, they kind of did, but I can't remember how they figured it out. They definitely explained, like, partially that they expected something to happen at the festival, but I can't remember where that intel came from. And then he'd gotten in touch with Arimura-san ahead of time?
状況から考えると、君たちが彼の死に関与していることはなさそうだ。しかし、そうなると誰が？
Your people? You people? Oh, you people, not your people. I was like, what? Who killed Watabe and how?
渡部さんが舞台に上がってきたとき、怪しい人を見たりしていないか？
Not on the stage, no. But we know creepy teacher was with him.
はい。誰も。
君はどうだ？
The black-haired girl that had been leaning against the wall with her arms crossed, she looked up.
残念ながら、私が駆けつけた時、現場はパニック状態だったからな。
Her voice was as mature and calm as her appearance. She was probably a third-year student, but I'd never seen her around the school before. Maybe the white lab coat was because she was part of the biology club or science club, but what would a student be doing here with a detective?
まったく、面倒なことだ。お前たちが犯人だったら、簡単に済んでよかったんだが。
Oh, well, apologies for not being a murderer for you.
それ、どういう意味です？どうもこうも、そのままの意味だ。私からすれば、あなたの方が怪しいですけど。
Huh, fair.
私は犯人じゃない。ほら、どうだ。私が嘘をついているかどうか、お前が一番よくわかっているはずだが。
Why do you say that? Arimura-san was clearly annoyed. But the black-haired girl didn't seem to care in the slightest.
まあまあ、久野里さん。それくらいにしといてくれ。
Her name was Kunosato-san then. Evidently she knew Arimura-san, but it was clear from their conversation the two of them did not get along. And for some reason...
おい、お前。
はい、僕ですか。
他に誰がいる？
それは。
さっきから何をジロジロ見ている？
いえ、別に。
Yeah, nothing. Totally not anything. Not you.
だったら下でも向いていろ。鬱陶しい。
Yes, ma'am. Shut down. I didn't know why, but Kunosato-san seemed to have it out for me too, not just Arimura-san.
一体何なんだ?
What did I do? I'd never seen or met this girl before. Why was she acting like this?
いや、待てよ。
Or am I wrong if we've actually met somewhere before? I bet you have. Did I do something to tick her off then? It was no good. I tried to remember and couldn't. But strangely...
彼女の声。
Oh yeah, it's the broadcast. He's like he can't make that connection because she talks so like sweetly on that, but it's her. I felt like I'd heard her voice somewhere before, but where?
ダメだ。こういう時に限って思い出せない。
It was really bugging me. There was nothing so useless as information that was inside you, but that you couldn't retrieve when you needed it. Information was only as valuable as you could use it.
とにかくもう一度確認させてくれ。君たちは舞台の下で対談を待っていた。だが、いくら待っても渡部さんは現れず、伊藤君と尾上さんが様子を見に行った。その後しばらくして、突然渡部さんが舞台に上がってきて、そこで倒れた。間違いないね。
Yeah, but he was already like ballooning.
はい。
By the way, sorry for the computer sound. I don't know. I don't doubt I'll be able to like edit that out, unfortunately. But for some reason, one of my Bluetooth devices that doesn't connect to the computer tried to connect to the computer for no reason. I suddenly remembered the way Watabe had looked. His eyes were out of focus, but full of terror. He was weeping tears of blood. His hand was stretched out as if seeking help, and the sumo stickers poured out of his mouth, covered in blood and vomit. It was a bizarre scene. I looked over at Arimura-san, and she must have remembered it too because she was wincing.
両目から出血。口からは異物を嘔吐か。吐き出したのは力士シールと呼ばれる妙なシールだったな。
Yeah.
検視は進んでいるのか、新庄さん。
The eyes bleeding is
解剖はいつ行われる？
The eye bleeding is a connecting thread, but it's interesting because the eyes bleeding isn't necessarily tied to people who died, because Arimura, who was at the scene of the last attack, her eyes were weeping blood too, but she didn't actually die there.
子供たちの前でそこまでは。
子供たちの前か。
Kunosato-san snorted, annoyed. Yeah, she's technically our age, right?
まあ、とにかく、君たち新聞部には全員ちゃんとアリバイがある。心配しなくていいからな。
I breathed a sigh of relief. Even if I knew I was innocent, I'd still be terrified of being arrested anyway. Although it also is going to be like, the police are definitely going to be interested in you, because now you've been at two of these events. You and Arimura-san and Onoa have all, like, you both have been at physically at two events now. It's not going to look good.
ただ、君と有村君、それと和樹君は、事件を間近で見た目撃者だ。申し訳ないが、所轄の担当者が資料を作るのに協力してほしいと言ってる。
Oh, so, the three of us, huh?
はいはい。やだって言っても、どうせ連れてくんですよね。
いや、別に君たちは被疑者じゃないから、 あくまでも協力をだね。
この前もそんなこと言ってましたけど。
しかし、なんだろうな、君たちは。
I don't know. Maybe we're tired of being yanked by our chains? Shinjo-san brushed his hand through his bangs. He hadn't cut his hair for a while.
え？何がです？
前回の柿田さんの事件といい、先日の彼女、クルス・ノノさんの死傷事件といい、ここのところ怪しい事件といえば必ず君たちが関わっている。
I mean, he is making that connection there.
これは偶然なんだろうか。
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't feel like it.
それは。
He was right. Even ignoring what happened to Kurusu, this was another potential homicide like revolving dead. But we were just innocent bystanders. I knew that better than anyone.
僕たちは本当にたまたま。
たまたま？
Kunosato interrupted me.
本当にたまたまなのか？お前たちが気づいていないだけで何かある可能性は？事件を呼び寄せるような何かが。
I have no idea. I tried to say something back to her, but couldn't. Her eyes were cold when she looked at me. Dang it, what's with this girl?
I
was starting to get angry. That was enough to get me to open my mouth.
僕、あなたに何か。
なんだ？
Did I what? Yeah, I'm not sure what he's going with this. But I regretted it immediately. She was scary. Yeah, she is.
その。
言いたいことがあるならはっきり言え。時間の無駄だ。
じゃあ聞かせてもらいます。けど、僕、あなたに何かしましたか？
ああ。
Gosh, now she's pissed.
なんだかすごく嫌われてるような。いや、僕の気のせいだったら、すみません。
Oh my gosh, dude! I understand he's anxious. I get it. I can sympathize. But my goodness, don't undercut yourself like that. What a reporter! You're supposed to ask a hard question, and if they don't answer right away, you give them subtle pressure. You don't just cave.
気にしない方がいいですよ、先輩。この人は誰に対してもこんな感じですから。
Well, she's true. Like, that's a good point. With everyone? Was that true? That was okay then.
誰に対してもというのは違うな。お前たちに対してだけだ。
お前たち？
Yeah, what you people? What's you people? What category are we part of?
ああ、そうだ。お前たちだ。
Does she mean me and Arimura-san? Or...
もしかして以前どこかで。
いや、お前のその新規臭い顔を見るのは初めてだ。
Okay, no, that's too personal. Was she like formally a member of the club or what? Dang it! Why does she have to be such a bee?
とにかく手口から見て今回の事件もこれまでの猟奇事件との関連性が疑われる。
Yeah, and the day.
ニュージェネの狂気の再来すか？
I still think my name was better than New Gen Madness. The strange way that Watabe had died, and the fact that today was October 10th. Just like Shinjo-san, it was possible this was a connection.
ああ、司法解剖の結果を待たなければ断定はできないが、日付と犯行の異常性は一致する。ところで、宮代君、聞いてもいいか？
はい。何でしょうか？
あのボードは君たちが？
Yes, he did notice. Shinjo-san was looking at the map we put together to follow the case.
はい、そうですけど。
ちょっと見せてもらってもいいかな？
Shinjo-san stood up without waiting for my answer and walked over to the board. Kunosato-san moved away from the wall and followed him.
これ、どう思う？
そうだな。
The two of them started to whisper to each other. I tried to listen in, but I couldn't make it out. With nothing else to do, I whispered to Arimura-san.
あのさ、あの久野里って人、うちの生徒なのか？
Why are you looking at me like I've asked the stupidest question in the world? I don't feel like it's unreasonable. For some reason, Arimura-san was staring at me in surprise.
僕、何か変なこと言った？
いえ、先輩がタメ口だったから。
Aw, that's true. He's kind of accepted her.
I
must have been so distracted by everything else that was going on, I didn't notice.
ごめんなさい、つい。
いえ、そのままでいいです。私は前からそうしてくれと言ってましたし。
わかりまし、じゃなくて、わかったよ。有村さん。
Just go, talk.
有村。
え？
さんもつけなくていいです。
わかった。有村。
First, the two of us had been together at the scene of Watabe's death, and now we had that strange, arrogant woman angry at us. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Maybe this is why I was finally able to talk to her normally.
それで、何の話でしたっけ？
あ、だからあの人。
Tall, pretty, and grumpy over there. The two of them were still talking about something in front of the map I'd made.
知らないんですか？先輩と同じ3年生だそうですよ。と言っても、ほとんど学校に来たことないらしいですけど。
学校に来ないって、不登校ってこと？
さあ、私もそこまでは。
So she was in my grade, but I was sure I'd never seen her at school. Eito and Kurusu had a lot of connections. Would they know her?
っていうか、そもそも何者なんだ？僕たちのこと嫌ってるみたいだけど。
さあ。
She's loving how much he's talking to her now, though. I think, I don't know if this is the real her, though. It feels like her, fake face, but it's still very funny that she's just he's actually having, full sentences with her now, which is, it's actually pretty cool. It's good that he's growing a little bit.
さあって、知り合いなんだろ？
私も、この前会ったばかりで詳しいことは知りません。ただ。
Oh, our conversation was cut off by the sudden sound of a phone.
失礼。
Shinjo-san took his phone out of his pocket. It was an old Japanese flip phone. Who still uses one of those in 2015? I don't know, bro. It's probably the safest phone. We're getting maybe we're getting a D-mail. I started to worry about whether the wrong sider like that was capable of solving this case at all.
あ、そうか。わかった。それじゃあ。
Someone must have told him to go somewhere. Wow. You're a freaking genius. Who would have known? He folded up his phone and put it back in his pocket, then turned to face us.
俺たちは先に失礼する。君たちの迎えは少し後になると思うが、くれぐれも協力頼むな。
はあ。
New guy, huh?
わかりました。
だから、そうめんどくさそうな顔するなって。時間がかからないように手は打っておく。それじゃ、頼んだぞ。
She seriously has a chip on her shoulder. I'm guessing we just forgot her somehow. Shinjo-san motioned to Kunosato-san, and the two of them left the room. As she left, Kunosato-san gave us one last cold stare. Or glance. And then the room fell silent. No one felt like talking, so we started to take out our phones or read magazines. He'd said it would be a while before the police would arrive to pick us up. The only thing we could do was kill time. Or we could talk about the case. I tried to talk to Arimura-san, but she either didn't hear me or was ignoring me. She was playing with her phone, too. She seemed to be trying to get in touch with someone. It looked like she had a lot of friends, so she might have been asking someone what happened at the cultural festival.
もう一度、事件の整理をしてみるか。
ねえ、タク。
Yeah? We ready to start, Scoobying? Being the Scooby gang? Seneca stopped me as I started to head for the board.
どうした、尾上？
能力者ってなんだろうね。
A psychic? Where's this coming from?
は？
Psychic? Wait, psychic? Like those con artists you see running dingy little shops? It can't be.
なんだそれ。ラノベかなんかの話か。
さっき、新藤さん？
What?
新庄さんか。
She brought it up?
さっき新庄さんが制服の上に白衣着た人とそんなことを。
What? Why?
お前、二人の話聞こえたのか？
It was true that the two of them had been mumbling in front of the board. You could barely hear it, but Setoko was evidently able to make out some words from where she was sitting.
歴史シールの不可思議な現象とか、能力者がなんとかとか、事件に関係あるのかなって。
Psychics. Though we've also had a good example here. She called him Shindo, and it's Shinjo. So maybe instead of psychics, she heard a different word like psychiatrist or psychos or something. Maybe that's what it is. If they were talking about it now, then of course it had to do with the case. But still, psychics, like a mind reader or something that somebody can move stuff with their brain. They didn't think this was all being caused by psychics with superpowers or something, did they? No, gigalomaniacs maybe, but he doesn't know that.
いくらなんでも、警察がそんなこと真面目に。
聞き間違いじゃないのか？
That's what I think it is. I think it's a similar word. Both Ito and Kazuki were looking at her questioningly.
そうかな。確かにそんな風に聞こえたんだけど。
なあ、有村。何か心当たりはないか？
What, is Arimura like now part of the newspaper club? She'd spent time with Shinjo-san, maybe she knew, but...
有村。
何ですかそれ。私アニメとか見ないんで。
Right. She didn't really seem interested. Well, that's what most people our age would think when they heard the word psychic.
尾上、他に何か聞こえなかったか？新庄さんたちの話。
他にはね、
She was about to open her mouth. So many interruptions! But then the sound of the door opening cut her off.
おい、宮代くん、和樹くんいる？それに有村くんも。
It's you. I don't like you. I'm suspicious. You remind me too much of, what was his name in Zero? Started with an L. The doctor dude who'd betrayed us.
先生。
よしよし、おとなしくしてるね。そろそろ警察に行くよ。
え？警察の人が迎えに来るんじゃ。
He says it so cheerfully.
引率係だよ。君たちは別に犯罪者じゃないし、あくまでもうちの生徒だからね。警察に呼ばれたなら僕が連れて行くのが筋だと思って。
That's true, but also their parents should be there. They have them.
どうだい？僕っていい教師だろ？
Uh-huh. As if he'd ever actually done anything for us as our advisor. But still, I felt just a little relieved.
それじゃ行こうか。ああ、伊藤くんと尾上くんはすぐに帰宅すること。いいね。
ういっす。
Aw.
はーい。
The two of them started to get ready.
先生。
なんだい？
文化祭はどうなるんでしょうか？
さあ、今ちょうど会議中でどうなるかはまだわからないね。
I mean, if they try to actually make this thing keep going, like I would be floored. That's all he said before he left the room. It was strange. Why had I asked that?
文化祭なんて別にどうでもよかったのにな。
No, you do, man. You were starting to care because you're feeling accepted.
嘘ね。
え？
She doesn't like lies, apparently. Lie? How? I wanted to ask what she meant, but it was clear that she wasn't going to tell me. She followed Mr. Wakui out into the hallway.
どうかした宮代くん。
I could hear him from outside the room.
Hmm?
Kazuki looked over at me and made a let's go gesture. I almost said feature. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, there she is. There was something I wanted to know, no matter what. What Sedaka just said. About Shinjo-san and Kunosato-san seriously discussing the word psychics. Mr. Wakui's entrance had interrupted our conversation, but I wasn't sure if it was okay to really write the idea off as silly nonsense.
すみません。これから警察行くなら結構時間かかりますよね。
そうなるだろうね。
だったら貴重品とかまとめて持って行ってもいいですか？置きっぱなしっていうのもなんなんで。
ああ、確かに。有村くん、君も自分の教室へ行って持ってきなさい。僕は昇降口で待ってるから。
はい。
I listened to the two of them walk away. Okay, that should buy me some time.
おい、尾上。
どうしたのタク。
さっきの話の続きだけどな。聞かせてくれないか？
Okay. Ooh, Ami-chan. Max Candy has joined the channel. Oh no. Where's the target being questioned for their involvement in the case? A suspect? It appears unlikely, but they may finally have noticed. Understood. Continue. Of course. So, interesting. October 10th, 2015, Saturday. So Arimura is still like involved with somebody. I don't know who though. Alright, tell you what. I think we're gonna end things here though. I'm not sure where this is going from here, but this is a good place for us to stop. We'll continue to see how things shake out with the new I don't even know what they're gonna call this one, but ugh, that was awful. Honestly though, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. But still insane. Like I said, matter being basically replicated inside someone's stomach is just nuts. Or they diluted him somehow into eating it and then throwing it all up. But how? That's just, it's so messed up, man. So messed up. Well, anyway. Hooray! No, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel, for being a part of this wonderful journey and being able to share these stories with me. I'm very happy to be able to share this with you. And man, I was talking about at the beginning how I'm feeling so like tense. I actually feel a lot better now. I think just playing the game, making content like this, it's part of the reason why I keep doing it, why I always prioritize it, why even though I have limited free time, I always try to make time for this, is because it genuinely makes me feel better. I will say though, I do have an upcoming work trip that's coming up. And when I'm doing that, I will have to take a break from posting for a little while. It's just a typical thing where like I can try and pre-record, but I don't know if I have time. And if I did, it would feel really rushed. I think I'd rather just take the break and enjoy, like, well, not enjoy is a loaded word because it's not like I'm just going out and having fun. It's not like a vacation. It's a work trip. But like I'm still like going to try and like make the most of the work trip, and you know, like while I'll miss making content, like it's just not going to be feasible. So just expect it in the next month. There's I'm guessing because of the work trip's length, I'm probably just going to take a week off. I don't know if I have to take the whole week off necessarily, but like it's probably for the best if I do. So I hope you all don't mind. But yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. You're awesome. I'm very lucky to have you, and I'm very lucky to be able to share good content with you. Well, at least I think it's good content. So thank you so much. And until next video, watch me up. See me next. I'll see you there.